Venus conjunct Pluto. Um, this is a really strong placement in the natal chart. So even if you've got a lot of air in the chart, or you've got a lot of lighter aspects, a lot more friendly trines, that type of thing, then Venus Pluto can really add a bit of a darker flavour to the personality. Venus and Pluto can show up when younger as relationships that have some kind of inclination towards power, dynamics being either positive or negative. Generally, when younger, a little bit negative. So we're looking more at things such as abusive dynamics, whether it's coercive control or emotional manipulation, or whether it's actual physical abuse or sexual abuse. Relationships where there's some kind of imbalance between the partners, so it might be a big age difference or status difference, or you have different demographics. So you might have someone who gravitates towards a partner has a lot more money, and that actually makes one of the partners feel more than or less than. So Pluto is all about death, rebirth, transformation, and Venus is values, love, self-worth. So you can see how these two planets, when they are conjunct, create quite a strong reaction to people on an interpersonal level. Often the Venus-Pluto person can project a lot of their unconscious shadow onto another person. So say, for example, if there is unresolved issues of self-worth, they might attract towards them a controlling or jealous partner, or a partner that has more financial stability, and they might use that against the Venus-Pluto person. The Venus-Pluto person might forever feel that they are beholden to this individual because they have more access to things, and they can't access those things without this person in relationship. When the Venus-Pluto person has really looked within themselves and worked on themselves, it can actually be a really transformational energy in relationship. So you've got someone who could be very, very healing as a spouse, someone who could be very intuitive to a power dynamic and actually able to keep a really beautiful balance in relationship because they're so acutely aware of almost trying to avoid the feelings of manipulation, control, jealousy, that type of thing. Venus Pluto in the birth chart can often be something that's been passed down through generations. So it might be secrets within the family history, or abuse in the family history, manipulation, control. And the reason why it's in the birth chart this time around could well be because this individual has chosen to break the cycle. Depending on the placements in the house and how prominent it is in the birth chart, it might really be a huge pull towards that person's purpose, reason for being here, to work through whatever that thing is in the genetic line which has come to them. So, pain travels through families until somebody is ready to feel that pain, to transmute that pain. And that's essentially what Venus-Pluto can do. It can transmute pain. It can lance poison out of itself and out of individuals. But if you're doing that unconsciously, and Pluto is pretty much an unconscious planet, then it can play out in these habitual patterns of control, manipulation, jealousy, and they're just kind of like veneers, really, that mask the deeper root to what Venus Pluto actually is. And it's this deep longing for intimacy and connection and acceptance, complete acceptance of self and other, which is quite a dark journey, and can be a dark journey, because you're really having to walk someone through their own aspects of themselves they don't like. And in relationship, you're walking along someone who's also going through that while still unconditionally loving them. So Venus Pluto, when younger, is conditional love. It's conditional love based on If you do this, I'll do that. Um, if you hurt me, I will do this, I'll do that. It's very kind of give and take, positive and negative. And this need for intimacy can actually turn into a lack of confidence and an oppressive, possessive nature. When evolved, it is I have so much power within self that I do not need power from other, and I realize that power over other or power over me is actually disempowering. So Venus Pluto, when evolved and over time, really is, they're the type of people that they're like rocks. They're really, you can rely on them. They really have met themselves in all aspects of their psyche. They've really had to dig to the depths of everything that they are. And therefore, in relationship, nothing really shocks and surprises them. So they're not projecting their shadow onto another person. They're not projecting what they haven't dealt with onto a partner, and therefore finding a relationship which is role-playing out that trauma in order for them to work through it. They've kind of done that earlier on in life a lot, Venus-Pluto people. They just can't help it. They just find trauma within relationship that really like hits them in the face with, okay, I have to deal with that right now. But as they get older, they're kind of selective partners who are incredibly intuitive to another person's needs. Because they're kind of holding this plutonic energy, they can be very magnetic, they can be very charismatic. They might not necessarily notice that about themselves, but they'll be very aware of recognizing that attractiveness is power. So they might feel that they need to make themselves more attractive, or they're compelled towards attractive people. This kind of need to hold the power of all of the things that Venus represents. So they're very protective about their self-worth. It's almost like the secret. They don't really want people to know that they're not feeling completely confident and completely powerful. They hate the feeling of being the proud people. They don't want to feel like they've been mugged off. They don't want to be they don't want to be seen with they wouldn't be seen upset in public type thing, especially if it's in Scorpio. I mean, it's Venus Pluto is similar to Scorpionic energy, like a Venus in Scorpio, and they'll feel all the feelings, but they'll keep that hidden from other people because this want to protect the lack of self-worth is so strong in the personality, because it's like the very root of the human suffering, that feeling like there's no right to be here, that feeling that they're not enough. So in summary, Venus conjunct Pluto when younger can be a really intense, tough energy to handle within relationship. There'll be a lot of things that play out through other, and over time can transmute, and it will, because it's Scorpio. So Scorpio's journey goes from the scorpion through the eagle to the phoenix, which is, the ultimate rebirth, regeneration. So when that process has happened over time, Venus conjunct Pluto can make phenomenal lovers, incredibly intuitive, magnetic, charismatic, and healers. Very, very healing spouses.